So a lot of people say, oh, well, you lost to Ugas and this and that. Well, a lot of people lost to a lot of people in the amateurs, and look what happened in the professional rankings. A lot of people can say, oh, well, Terence, you lost to this guy, you lost to that guy. Okay, well, all the guys that I lost to in the amateurs, compare their career in professional to my career in professional. He can say all those type of things, but when you look at who I fought and who he fought, and you look at what I done to him, you know, it's no comparison.
Did Ugas? I think I'm pronouncing his name right. Did he beat you in the amateurs? Your Guinness Ugas?
Ugas? Yeah, he beat me in the amateurs.
And then Errol stopped him in the 10th round when they fought. So Ugas said there's no way you can beat Errol if Errol fights you the way he fought him. So does it matter if he beat someone who defeated you?
Never. Listen, you talking about a fight that happened when I was 18 years old. I was a little kid. I was a little boy. You know, that same little boy is no way, shape, form, fashion the same little boy. You know what I mean? The grown man that I am today. When I fought Ugas, I probably had like 40 fights. Ugas probably had hundreds. Coming from Cuba, and you know they fighting all the international tournaments, national tournaments, all that. You know, so he had more experience at the time. So I wouldn't base him beating me at 18 on a professional fight. We don't have no headgear on. We fighting with smaller gloves. We fighting longer rounds, longer minutes in the rounds. So it's a lot of things that goes into fighting an amateur fight and fighting a professional fight.
We unpack. We unpack. We unpack. Coming to you live, Boxingego Unpacked. Yeah. We unpack. We unpack. We unpack. Coming to you live. Terence Crawford finally admits that he lost in the amateurs to Yordenis Ugas of Cuba. That's what I want to talk about in this video. What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I am back with some more boxing. We Unpack coming to you live, so you gotta subscribe. Now, I wanted to make this video. Terence Crawford did a recent interview where he did admit, as you guys heard, that he said that he lost to Yordenis Ugas in the amateurs. Now, I thought he handled the question cool. This is a mutual opponent of Errol Spence, and Terence Crawford didn't fight him as a pro, but again, he fought him as an amateur. If I'm not mistaken, he lost to him twice in the amateurs, in the Pan Am Games. Terence Crawford, you guys heard his response. He's basically just saying, yeah, I was a young man. You know, I wasn't a grown man at the time that I fought him. You know, I was 18 years old, and he was a bit older than me. And by the time I put together this video, I'll try to get the age difference. I don't know offhand the age difference between Terence Crawford and Yordenis Ugas. Now, I actually just looked it up, and it says Terence Crawford is 35 and Yordenis Ugas is 36. So that's the age disparity. That's not really that crazy. I mean, it's a year difference. They're a year apart. Terence Crawford kind of made it seem like he was much older, like he was like a little kid. But, you know, either way, you guys look it up. The Cuban, Yordenis Ugas, it says he's 36. Crawford's 35. That's a year difference. Nonetheless, Crawford answered how he answered, and he said that, you know, that was then. A lot has changed. Before I became a champion, maybe I didn't have my man strength, that kind of thing. But I have to make this video because, one, it's my job. Two, I like to inform. I use my channel to inform. I don't care who's mad. I don't care who's like doesn't like it. The information is knowledge. You know, knowledge is power. So there's a lot of people that don't know these things. Now, another reason that I had to make this video, we unpacked, and talk about it is because the Bud Buddies, the fanatical, radical man fans of Terence Crawford, they seem to use triangle theories, but only when it's convenient. What do I mean? So I've heard even Terence Crawford himself use a triangle theory, saying, like he said multiple times, like even in the press conference with Errol Spence, he literally said, hey, I fought the guys after you fought them, but look what I did to those same opponents, those mutual opponents. Who is he referring to? So basically, realistically, Kell Brook and Sean Porter. And Terence Crawford and his Bud Buddies have went around and used this logic. Now, July 29th, I'm not worried. Like, as far as the actual fight, I'm not even worried about it because we have a signed, sealed, delivered fight. Both fighters look like they're training hard. I got many videos to come. I just did a video. Errol Spence looks like he's in great shape. Terence Crawford's a gym rat. So as far as the dynamic, I know a lot of people want to be at each other's throats. Who wins, Spence, Crawford? Me, the type of personality that I have, I don't really care because it's not like a fantasy. It's not fun to me when it's in that fantasy lane because I'm an Aries, so I'm headstrong. I'm a natural born leader, and I like conclusion. I don't want to just talk about something. Like, that's why it was frustrating when Floyd Mayweather and Manny Pacquiao, those years that they didn't fight, 5 or 6 years, because I want to see a conclusion. I don't want to just argue. I was telling people for years, I always believed Floyd would beat Manny Pacquiao, no matter when they would have fought. Styles make fights, and I think he would have won that fight. So it was a matter of a waiting game to actually be able to prove it. And then when it was said and done, per usual, my prediction was Johnny on the spot and spot on. So I'm not really worried. This is not like a debate video about who wins because we're going to find out shortly. Different people are picking Crawford. Different people are picking Errol Spence. Some people just want to see a good fight. I'm good with that. But the Bud Buddies, I've noticed there's a high level of sensitivity if you say anything about Terence Crawford. But we got to examine the information that's being put out. Terence Crawford, as I mentioned, and the Bud Buddies, but Terence Crawford particularly, in interviews, in the press conference for Errol Spence, either the LA or the New York one, he really used a triangle theory. And if you know my channel, I'm not big on triangle theories because they really mean nothing. You know, a triangle theory doesn't automatically mean that because fighter A did this to fighter B, then fighter C, who has nothing to do with fighter A or B, does this, or it doesn't work. You're never going to take a sport like boxing, which is so dynamic and there's so many different variables that produce outcomes. What kind of training camp did you have? Do you have any type of nagging injuries? Are you focused? Are you underestimating your opponent? I mean, there's just so many different things you have to take into consideration. Is your opponent on PEDs and he just hasn't got caught for it? Like, there's a million things. Styles make fights, all these types of things. So me personally, consistently, you go back through the history books, I've never been big on the whole idea of a triangle theory because it doesn't mean anything. Like, I thought Timothy Bradley lost all 3 fights to Manny Pacquiao. I might want to accept my promoter, right? I thought he lost all of them. But then he's able to beat Juan Manuel Marquez, and it's debatable who won some of those 3 Pacquiao fights, and then Marquez knocks out Pacquiao flat. You know, he flatlines Pacquiao. So none of it means anything. Pacquiao really beat Bradley, but Bradley beat Marquez, and then Marquez knocked out Pacquiao. Like, you know what I'm saying? You're not going to make any sense of it. So for Crawford to say like, oh, look what I did to your opponent, I don't agree with the triangle theory because you got a non-champion version of Sean Porter and Kell Brook. I really believe it's almost misinformation or bad information if you have knowledge and you purposefully withhold and omit certain details to try to make a point. If you notice on my channel, I don't do that. I don't have to like lie to make a point. I don't have to, bend the rules or bend the truth to make a point. I know I'm right. I know the stuff I'm saying is true. So, with the truth, comes a level of purity. You don't really have to do hella extra, right? So yes, Crawford stopped Kell Brook sooner than Errol Spence, but he also stopped the one version of Kell Brook who had dumped his longtime trainer, dumped his longtime promoter, hadn't fought at welterweight in 3 years. He, after losing to Golovkin and Errol Spence back-to-back, he suffered orbital injuries in both those fights, and he said he was really depressed and considering retirement, and he felt alone. I mean, these are pertinent details. So yeah, you knocked out Kell Brook, but people think he was washed when you fought him. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. Same thing with Shawn Porter. Now, Shawn Porter wasn't necessarily on drugs and those types of things like Kell Brook, but he had already started podcasting, and he was on a 400-plus day layoff, and it was still a competitive fight. So the point I'm making is for Terence Crawford to use a triangle theory, right, and say, oh, look what I did to our mutual opponents, Porter and Kell Brook, and I dispatched of them better than you. But then when it comes to Ugas, Terence Crawford is telling you that Ugas beat me in the amateurs, but you don't hear any of the Bud Buddies bringing up that triangle theory. Like, hey, who knows what would happen after Ugas was coming off the Pacquiao performance if instead of Errol Spence, he were to fight Terence Crawford. So again, you can see the agenda that people have, and they only bring up points that they know exist when it's convenient. That's how you know it's an agenda. I don't mind talking about anything in boxing, and I've showed that throughout my career. But if you're going to be about a triangle theory, then let's be about all triangle theories. I don't personally agree. I don't think that a triangle theory is detailed enough to expand and explore who will win a fight. But Terence Crawford obviously does, because he keeps citing, hey, look what I did to Porter. Hey, look what I did to Brook. I beat them faster or better than you and all that. I mean, it just doesn't make sense. For example, here's another example of how triangle theories are flawed. It's, you look at Floyd Mayweather. His whole career, when Pacquiao started getting mentioned next to Floyd Mayweather, the whole thing that people were saying was how Pacquiao fought mutual opponents of Floyd and he stopped Cotto, but Floyd went 12 with Cotto. Yeah, but there's variables, like Floyd fought Cotto at 154 and Pacquiao fought Cotto after the Margarito loss. Mayweather fought Cotto after he avenged the Margarito loss. And again, he fought him at 54. These are pertinent details that casuals don't understand, which is why they use triangle theories. Or people are saying, oh, Oscar De La Hoya went 12 with Floyd and Manny Pacquiao retired him and stopped him. Ricky Hatton got stopped in like 2 rounds, and it took Floyd 5 rounds or whatever round Floyd stopped Ricky Hatton. But Floyd stopped the undefeated Ricky Hatton. These are pertinent details. And again, the Bud Buddies, they only want to bring up triangle theories when it suits or makes Crawford shine, but they don't ever bring up Ugas. Another reason for making this video is you've heard the Bud Buddies, after Errol beat Ugas, they tried to denigrate Ugas's brand and make it sound like Ugas was a trash champion or he wasn't a good fighter. So I will leave you guys with this in true Unpacked fashion. Save the best for last. This is years ago, before the Pacquiao win. Bo Mack, trainer and friend of Terence Crawford, he was talking up Ugas and saying hopefully down the line he would like to avenge the amateur losses to Ugas, because Ugas is a bad dude and he's a fighter that's being ducked and things like that. So Errol Spence has a significant win and he turned Ugas into a cyclops. So no matter how hard the Bud Buddies want to bring up triangle theories, but then excuse the Ugas comparison when Ugas beat Crawford twice in the amateurs, the proof is in the pudding. Crawford's team respects Ugas, so there's no way the Bud Buddies can slander Ugas and try to make it look like him coming off the Manny Pacquiao fight. And I thought Ugas beat Shawn Porter, so he should have been a 2-time champion. You know, there's no way you're going to badmouth Ugas and make that make sense. Best in the business. Roll the clip. Subscribe to the channel. I'm out.
It's another young cat, man, he's kind of like a solid killer. His name is Ugas.
Yeah, I know.
His name is Ugas. He's the number one for the IBF, which is Spence belt. And a lot of fighters don't talk about him, man, because Ugas is real dangerous. You know, he's lost twice, but, you know, he got a new team now. They out in Vegas and shit, man. And this cat is on the roll. And actually, that cat beat Terence in the amateurs at the Pan Am Games. Yeah. And so that dude is on our radar. You might as well get him out the way. But when you get knocked out the way, hey, we might as well go on and lock it on in with Spence after that. Wow. And that should be like towards the end of the year, around this time next year.
So y'all going. Attention, all YouTube content creators. If you follow my channel, you'll know I use TubeBuddy. Take your channel to the next level with TubeBuddy, which is the ultimate tool for your YouTube success. Unlock a world of possibilities, grow your channel, increase your views, and maximize your earnings. Cha-ching. TubeBuddy features powerful keyword research, video optimization, and so much more. TubeBuddy got your back. But wait, there's more. I got a coupon code for you guys, 25% off until June 30th. If you click my link in the description and enter the code 25buddy, I will give you 25% off TubeBuddy to get your YouTube channel jumping. Click my link in the description, enjoy the coupon code, and happy creation.